What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Car Biz Leaders Live. My name is Rachel Blatt. I am your host. It's with the Moses. I'm also the CEO of Royalty Logistics. Today I'm broadcasting from my home and got some kids in the pool, so excuse me. And then my guest today is broadcasting from his vehicle. So we are on the move today and definitely making things happen. I got a great guest for you today. He's going to be awesome. He really helps people live the dealership life with his company, dealershiplife.org. And he's helping salespeople. He's helping everybody just get a little bit better at in our auto dealer world. So without further ado, let's get this party started. And we'll make things happen. Awesome. Welcome to Car Biz Leaders Live. Let's get going. And without further ado, I'm going to welcome Benjamin Dykstra from dealershiplife.org. And if you haven't seen his videos, they're amazing. But for those of people that do not know you, Benjamin, share with us a little bit about yourself. Give us a little shameless self-promotion. Tell us who you are. What kind of gems you're going to be dropping today and get everybody psyched up.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you great. Pretty good for the car, right?
All right.
I like your background.
I'm driving through the mountains. I literally just pulled over to have this conversation with you. So
I'm honored.
I had to button up my shirt in order to make this thing happen.
Why are we buttoning up? We should be buttoning down. Sorry, for those of you I'm shameless.
So yeah. So I'm a trainer. I'm a consultant, specifically to automotive retail. I'm a husband. I'm a father, and a business owner. And we're out there to elevate the performance and the public perception of automotive retailers. Mm-hmm. So big project right now.
Yeah, it is, because there's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of internet buying. There's a lot of people are staying at home more. They're trying to figure out whether or not they want one car in the garage or two. A lot of people are looking for used cars. They may not want to be leasing a vehicle as much because they're going to hold on to it longer. Tell me about the trends that you're seeing right now in the retail space.
So I'm the enemy of online only retailers. And I'm not going to name any names, but you know who they are. Uh-huh. And I think that let me say, I think every dealership needs to have a robust digital retailing channel. Mm-hmm. If we ever wake up on a day when that is the only option for customers, that would be a tremendous loss for the industry and for the public, to not have the ability to have that relationship and that personal service, from a person.
Yeah.
So, I think everybody has different needs when it comes to how they want to make a purchase and, different thought of how it should go. And I think it's our job as the industry to recognize what that is and to serve our people well, right?
Yeah. I think what a lot of people struggle with, and this is just from my perception and my own experience, is that the time, everybody is we did get a taste of time back in our lives with COVID-19. I don't know about you, but I've been able to connect more with my family. I've had a lot of blessings with COVID, but at the same time, I know a lot of people have struggled with, and prior to COVID was how long it takes to purchase a vehicle, making sure that dealer is trustworthy and notable and all that good stuff. What are some of the challenges that you help people overcome?
Well, I try to bridge the gap between the customer's perception of who we are, which is, they don't trust us. They don't think that we're worthy of respect. And the dealership's reality of what they do for customers. I don't know if you know this, I'm sure you do. There's a lot of dealerships out there that are doing amazing things for the customers. They have amazing processes, and we need to expand all that, right, and bring it to all the places that need it. So my system is focused on approaching the customer the way that's natural, the way that the brain naturally formulates, large purchase decisions, and making sure that we model our sales process after that.
Right.
And the big issue that we run into is, as the salespeople, we want to control the process.
Right.
And we need to let the customer be in control, but we need to guide them in such a way. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes. I just lost it. Back on it. I think that is so true, guys. When you're out there, you really have to pay attention to what your customers want. You can't always, formulate the process from A to B. You really have to be able to, kind of take them where they want to go and be able to get back to where you need to go in a way that is not frustrating to them, not wasting their time. There's a lot of things that are going on in this business where it's like, we don't want to waste our customers' time. We want to make sure that we're helping them and get back into that sales process. So I kind of just took over for you from my perspective because, I'm a business owner too. And, like sometimes people have a lot of time to spend and they really need that detailed attention. And other times the customers are like, they know what they want. They're ready to go. And all you have to do is kind of make sure that you're giving them what you want instead of staying into that long drawn out process. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. So I'll give you an example, a typical example, right? Customer walks in, says, listen, I don't like salespeople. I don't like buying cars. I know exactly what I want. Just give me the best deal up front. That's the vehicle I want to buy. Get it done. Okay. So the salesperson immediately goes into action mode. Okay. And 25 minutes later, we're sitting across from the customer. We have a buyer's order that we're showing them. And we go over all the information. The customer says, well, I need to think about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. You said you knew exactly what you wanted, and my only job was to make it happen as quickly as possible and as pain-free as possible. But now at the end, you're not ready. So now as a salesperson, I have no way to have a constructive conversation after that because I don't know anything about this customer. I've been running around trying to get the nuts and bolts together, right? Just like they asked me to do. So I did exactly what the customer asked me to, and I'm just trying to help, and I'm left with nothing and nothing to close on. I have no deal. And so, I kind of start at the end and say, okay, what are all the things that might come up at the end? And then I teach a principle that I call the law of the line. And the law of the line states that, whatever the line is, and in our business, it's the moment when we hand over the financial proposal and we ask the customer to choose an option and sign on the bottom line. That's the line. So in your business, it might be a little different, but whatever the big ask is, that's the line. Right. And whatever comes up after the fact, there is no constructive close for topics that have not already been discussed.
Right.
Right. And so if I ask you, and then you say you got to think about it, that's a stall. And I say, well, what really do you got to think about? I'm overcoming your stall to get to the true objection. And you say, I have to go look at this other model. And that's the first time that we've talked about it. And I start doing my salesperson thing, trying to overcome the objection and save the deal. Nothing I say is getting through to you as a customer because I'm just a desperate salesperson who wants to close my deal. Right. But if we've already talked about it, it's natural for me to kind of refer back to that and say, okay, I get it. Do you remember when we talked about this? And I can reconfirm and refocus and ask again for the sale. So that's what, we talk about in the business world of asking for the sale multiple times. That was confusing to me when I first started. Do you want to buy it? No. Well, how about now? Do you want to buy it now? No. How about now? Do you want to buy it now? How do you ask multiple times? Well, in order to be able to ask multiple times, you got to have stuff to talk about. Right. So that's what we teach is having this meaningful setup so that when you're on the other side of that line you're trying to close, you've got something to talk about.
Yeah. And I think too that a lot of people don't take the time. Here's in my world, it's like you have to get to know people. You have to know them Yes, you can run around from them, and yes, you can do things quickly for them. You can get them the fastest deal possible. Listen, I want to get you exactly what you want, but first, right? Let me ask you a question, right? Is this something like, if I got you everything you would do right now, we ready to go, sign in the paper, because I think there's, you have to qualify your customer, right? You do have to, regardless of what you're doing. You can't just say, I want oranges when they really want apples. We're a strange breed. Wouldn't you agree? Buyers and sellers, Oh my gosh, I was like thought he was listening to me, but he was just frozen. And the mountains and where he's at is just so beautiful. And let's go to the comments and say hi so we can to get this checking out. And maybe we don't have any comments right now, but let me just tell you this. Benjamin is at dealershiplife.org, and I'm challenging him today with all kinds of fun stuff about how to help you guys, sell more cars essentially, and get out there and help your salespeople, because a lot of these times, the salespeople are, they're hungry. As owners, we can kind of get people, we can really put the pressure on our salespeople, close, and make the deal. And we don't. And that's not always the case, right? Like we really want to make sure, I think more important, that you service your customer, make sure that they're getting what they really need instead of always push. Although I think it's a hard balance as an entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Sorry, I lost you there for a second. I'm in search of a stronger cell phone signal. I need a.
I was like, oh, he's to me. He's so intently listening, and then I was like, oh no, he's frozen. You had such a good freeze, by the way.
When I'm in a little more stable area. No, I think you're absolutely right. Like we want to close the deal, but we have to do it in a way that's natural to the customer. So the way I teach sales starts with an understanding of the purpose of the sales consultant. The purpose of the sales consultant in our business, as I see it, is to guide others through the process of making big decisions. Right? Mm-hmm. That seems obvious. But my job is to guide you through the process of making big decisions. So, okay. Then all I have to do is understand, well, what are the major components of the big decision? What are the things that I absolutely have to cover with everybody? And in a car sale, well, in any sale, it's just basically 5 things, and I can give you what they are, but I don't want to talk for too long because I tend to ramble and preach. But it's
people like to do
the customer that. Even for the customer that, now I can't hear you. Even for the customer that comes in and says, I want this right now, do it as fast as possible. We can ask some of these confirm.
Right. Oh my gosh. Well, we're definitely going to have to do this again because this guy is on point. And Benjamin Dykstra, let me just tell you this while we are waiting for him to zoom back into this call. Have you ever seen his videos? Okay, like his videos on his Facebook, which is really what caught my eye. He's out there helping people, and I want him to kind of I wanted you guys to be a part of this conversation, because while he's out there helping people, that's essentially what I feel is like the biggest key to success is helping other people and making sure that at the end of the day that your customers are taken care of, that you're helping as many people as you can be successful. That's what makes you be more successful, is when you are starting to help other people, then you begin to become more successful. Benjamin, I love it how you're driving. I was just telling my audience here how important it is to help other people, and and that's kind of why I invited you on the show today, because I see you out there. You're posting content that is really helping other salespeople, whether the dealership is paying for it or not. Like, you can access his stuff. It's better in person, obviously. And I think you're on the road visiting customers. You're on the road right now. You're being road warrior, right?
Yeah.
Servicing his crew, his family, this auto dealer life, putting some real life expertise into your dealership to help you sell more cars. At the end of the day, you guys pay a lot of money for leads. You pay a lot of money to get people to walk in your door. You want to make sure that your salespeople are the best salespeople possible and making sure that they're taking great care of your customers. What are other things that you kind of preach to the dealership when you're going in there and kind of spitting your world to them?
Well, the first thing we have to do is break down the traditional selling process and identify, where it works and where it doesn't work. So, once we understand the psychology of the decision, we kind of as a team come up with, a process guide to say, these are the essential things. Like, these are the non-negotiable things, the conversations that we're going to have with every customer before we ask them to do business with us.
Right.
And we do that by getting the whole team's input. I'm going to pull over. I think I'll be okay right here now. All right, perfect. So we do that by getting the whole team's input. And when it's something that's developed by the team, we call this a process of guided discovery. When it's something that's developed by the team, they own it. And so because they own it and they made it, it's a whole lot easier to create this accountability. Because if I come to you and say, hey, Rachel, that thing I told you to do, how come you're not doing it? Just do your job. That's a whole lot different than if I come to you and say, hey, Rachel, you remember when we had this conversation as a team and we all decided together we were going to do it this way? I know you want to do it that way. What's the issue here? What's standing in the way of you and not being able to do that? And you were part of that conversation. So it's like I automatically have, a more natural in to start that conversation.
Yeah. Yes.
So, and that's where it starts.
I love that though. I think teamwork is so important. And I think there's a lot of times when there's a boss and it's like, this is the way it's going to be. And you don't get a lot of that buy-in, especially if people don't respect that person.
Yeah. And that's why most sales training is completely ineffective because, it was presented to the owner, the GM, the management staff, and they bought into it. And then they put it on the salespeople to say, this is what we're doing. And the salespeople weren't sold. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The salespeople didn't have an opportunity to give input. They didn't have an opportunity to catch the energy and the excitement to believe in it. And so they're just being told, you have to do this. Well, I don't know about you, but I don't like to do anything when the only reason I'm doing it is because somebody's telling me to do it. I like to do things because I believe in them and I'm excited about them. And if somebody takes a little bit of time to get me there, I'm in. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know. I have, and I think that's why I started my own company too, is because I do have, I have issues with authority. Okay. Me and authority, we don't get.
No way.
And, because I want to be able to have my ideas listened to. And I'm like, a lot of times I use this, I'm like, and I'm always right. But that's my other problem. But I think that's essential. So what are some of the ways that you kind of get people, not just get people involved or maybe get some of the quiet people talking a little bit to get them kind of into it, get their buy-in? Like, how do you get their buy-in? Like, these are salespeople. Like, salespeople know when they're being sold, and they, what is the benefit to them, and how do you get them to buy in?
Well, we do this the same way that we manage people. I can apprehend your thinking by asking you questions. Right? If I ask you what color is your house, it pops into your mind. You can't, for a split second, you can't think of anything but the answer to my question. And that's what we call the process of guided discovery. So when you go to elementary school and middle school and even high school, they tell you things, you memorize things, you have to read and memorize and regurgitate. Say hey from me.
I know. He's like, can I give you a I'm like, he's got his friend over. It's like, oh, vey. Sorry. Well,
That's okay. This is the Zoom world.
We got the neighborhood, we got the trees in the background. We're just having a good old time today, talking about sales. Loving it.
So when we get to higher education, the professor puts a question on the board, starts asking questions that guide the students.
Yeah.
It's the way
to real.
I know.
Just hang that up. Hang on.
All right, good.
So the whole process here is guided discovery. So my job is to ask you the right questions to get you onto your own. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So if I was consulting you for your business, I would, man, every time my phone rings, my Bluetooth disconnects. If I was consulting you for your business, I would start off, like you were talking about with Glenn last week. I would start off asking you questions. And then I would gradually change the types of questions I ask to start getting you thinking solution oriented, So I might say, well, what's one of a problem that you've been having? And you might tell me, well, my salespeople can't get people to pick up the phone,
Right.
And I say, okay, if there was an easier way to get connected with people besides having a cold call, and you were able to get in touch with 20% more people, what impact would that have on your bottom line? Right? And you would say, oh, well, I don't know. And I'd say, well, let's do the math. And let's kind of figure it out. I mean, what's your closing ratio once you get in touch with people? What's your average ticket price worth? We would put a dollar amount to it. So I want to get you thinking about, if there's a solution to my problem, what is it really going to look like? So now you're thinking about all the extra money as a business owner that you could be making, and all the better ways that you can serve people. And then I'm going to come in and present a solution that only I can offer, because only I have a proper understanding of what your problems are, because we just spent the last 20 or 30 minutes talking about it. That makes sense?
Yeah, I absolutely think so. And I think when we go to, I was just talking about that today with one of my sales reps. I'm like, at the end of the day, like, she's like, well, I'm not really good. What's up, Max? Thank you so much for watching us today. I love you. So at the end of the day, she's like, well, I'm not really good at talking. She's like, I'm a little nervous about talking to people. And I said, well, it's really not about talking to people. It's really about listening to people. And I think people want to be heard. And I think the solutions are simple. They're creative, but they're simple. And it's just really understanding what it is that people want, and then handing it to them, like making sure that it's as close. I don't think it's just like, and can't we do that with spouses? Just saying, let me tell you what I want, and then you can just serve up that person. But like, nothing is perfect. You know what I mean? What are some of the challenges that you faced during this COVID? How did you overcome them? How did you get through? I mean, your phone is blowing up. Obviously, your audio is going crazy, and now we're up.
Unbelievable, these technical problems I'm having right now.
That's all right. Just happens. I mean, we all go through. I have had so many technical issues on this show, and let me just tell you this. It happens. I'm still going to go through it. I got 7 minutes left with Benjamin. We're going to do it again because obviously it's tough, and but that's okay, because let me just tell you this. Like, regardless of if it's a good show, if it's not a good show, if it's a great show, if it's a great person or not, the reality is that you're doing it consistently and you're out there doing it, right? So, and that is really like the best thing, my advice I can offer. Benjamin, what are some advice for people that want to, that need your help, that want to get started? Like, tell us some of the problems that you help solve, really, ultimately.
Well, the first problem that we solve is the problem inside of ourselves. And when I got into the car business, like most people do, by accident. I didn't have this dream as a little kid of being a car salesman.
Right.
No offense to car salesmen. I was a car salesman for a long time. I still consider myself a car salesman. But people get into our industry because, something that they really wanted to do, they weren't qualified for it yet. They needed to get some experience, or, it didn't work out, something. So it's like, well, I've heard that people have had some success in car sales, and I guess I'll give it a try. And they walk into the dealership on the first day, and they say, we'll see how it goes. They tell their friends and family, I'm selling cars. Oh, you're selling cars? And they go, yeah, we'll see how it goes. Because the same people that we hire are the people that don't trust us as customers. And what's ironic is the dealerships say the same thing when they hire salespeople. Well, he's kind of young, or he's kind of new, doesn't have a lot of sales experience. We'll see how it goes, right? and that kind of thinking has tanked more salespeople in the history of the automotive industry than anything else. So I spent the first 5 years of my career trying to be okay with the fact that I was a friggin' car salesman.
Right. Yeah.
That wasn't something. I didn't go back to my high school reunion and want to brag to everybody like, hey guys, I'm a car salesman. So to really understand the service that we provide so that we can be proud of it and not apologetic about it, and the service, again, as I have said, our purpose as salespeople is to help guide others through the process of making a big decision. Now, there's a practical why to all this, right? And the practical why is money, it's tangible benefits. We don't do any of these shenanigans, unless there's some tangible benefit to us, right? But that's not enough to produce genuine inspiration and motivation. That's not enough to keep us going, to keep us reaching. We got to have a purposeful why. So if I can buy into the fact in my own mind that my purposeful why is to learn this skill of guiding others through the process of making a big decision, that's life-changing for me. So I go to work to practice that every day so that it changes the way that I live my life, the way I make big decisions for myself and my family, and it changes my interactions with my friends and my parents. So I spend a lot of time, especially with new salespeople, helping them to understand why you are here. And sometimes, we have really great people in the car business for a short period of time. I've trained a number of people that have gone after 2-3 years later, they go and they do something else that's more interesting to them, they love better. And if the entire car business was made up with people who are passionate about gaining a genuine knowledge and skill set of selling and doing it right, and they only ever stayed for 3 years, that'd be fine. Now we want people to stay around for a lifetime. We want that. But, my vision for the car business of the future is that if a young person, goes to a mentor, a parent, an uncle, an aunt, whatever, after high school or after college, and says, hey, I don't know what I want to do. I think I want to sell something or be in business. How should I get started? That older person will be able to say to them, you know what you need to do? If you really want to get around some positive, energetic people and learn how to serve people well, learn how to guide people through decisions well, really learn how to sell the right way, you need to go work in the car business. That we would just be the best at selling and serving. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I think a lot. Now, let me just tell you this: we do have a industry full. I think in terms of how selling, like I always tell my salespeople, because I'm kind of on the outer skirts of the automotive world. Like I serve dealerships, I serve other companies, right? But essentially, like they're just playing their video games, just want to yell across the screen, but I'm not going to do it. But I feel like we do have, in terms of the hustle, in terms of the go-getters, I think that the people that are really successful in this business do really push the envelope in terms of innovation and sales and a lot of stuff that goes along with it. I always tell my salespeople, you have to be a great salesperson because you're selling to master salespeople. And sometimes, in my case, I'm selling to master salespeople. So you have to perfect your craft. You have to be good at that. But I loved what you said about your purposeful why, and maybe you can expand on that a little bit. And can everybody just turn down the volume, please? Please? I couldn't take it any longer. Sorry.
Okay. you got to step away and crack some skulls. That's okay.
Well, the one time this is the only time that it's been like this. It's just our.
Don't worry about it. Nobody cares these days. So, all right, the purposeful why. So here's the problem with selling. The problem with selling is nobody likes to do it because it sucks. It doesn't feel good, to have to sell to survive, to schlep, to schlep, to shill, nobody likes the feeling that I've somehow manipulated somebody or taken advantage of somebody. No, and we as people, we want to be wanted and we want to help. If people want my product and it's a product that I genuinely believe will help them and they're going to stand in line to get it, that's just easy. All I got to do is ring the cash register. It's like the best day ever in sales,
right.
But that's not how it is at the car dealership. And that's not how it is at the transportation, place, because nobody wants to talk to you at first. Right.
Yeah.
So I will put up with having to sell the whole thing,
Yeah.
And that's kind of what drove this project for me. So if we can find what the bigger purpose is and tap into that, and then tap into who I am at my best, as my mentor Damien likes to say, if I can discover who I am at my best and bring that person to work every day to accomplish the mission, well, then it doesn't feel like selling. It doesn't feel bad. I'll pick up the phone. It doesn't bother me.
Right.
I'm just doing a little advertising. I'll lean in on the close, because it's important. I'll go out and greet anybody, and I don't care if they act a little cold or rude or hostile to me, because I understand that that's just natural instinct of people to distrust salespeople. And I know that my job is that of a counselor, that of a guide, and so I'm willing to do what it takes, even the stuff that doesn't really feel that good, because I believe in the mission and I know where I'm headed. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely makes sense. I think what you got to do is you got to just keep moving forward and, keep pushing against those, push past your comfort zone a little bit.
So here's what we do as salespeople. The first thing we learn how to do is justify.
Mm-hmm.
We can justify the price of the vehicle, the value of the trade-in, the reasons for doing business with me, with us, whatever. We also get really good at justifying our own failures.
Yeah.
Am I right? So when I'm not getting the result I want and I'm facing a failure, I can either, blame everything else that wasn't my fault, which is easy. And I can come up with a whole list of things, and I can find a whole group of people that want to join in and come up with ideas about why it's not our fault. Or I can take a long, hard look at myself and what I can do, what I can affect, what I can change. And was there something that I maybe didn't do perfect or that I could do better? And that's a little more painful, but that's where the growth is, right? The growth is when I have the humility to look at myself and say, how can I do this better? And so, I ask salespeople to believe in certain things just irrationally. One of the things I ask them to believe in is that you can sell everyone. You can sell everyone. And we know that it's like a delusion. We know that we won't be able to sell everyone because, we don't have a 100% closing ratio. But we approach every interaction believing that if we do and say the right things in the right order, just the way that customer needs to hear them, then we can get it done 100% of the time. Mm-hmm. And when you get out of that mindset is when you start really becoming discouraged. You come up with all the reasons why you can't do it instead of all the reasons why you can.
Right.
It's JFK. Some people look at the world and ask why. Some people look at the world and ask why not.
Well, first of all, if you were my trainer, I would love listening to you because you're dropping the gems. I wrote a lot of things down today about some of the, what purposeful why. That was huge. Getting millennials to buy into the big picture of where we're going, what we're doing for customers, not just making a buck, but really the end game. And I think that is huge for me. Taking responsibility for your actions and really looking at how you can become a better person every single day. And then that mindset, so click. Yeah. What else? Take us home with your final advice. We're going to wrap up here and again, for sure, because we need to, but final words for the audience so we can get.
I was in a mentorship conversation with a young man the other day.
Mm-hmm.
He's 24 years old. He lives with his parents. He's from South America and was studying to be an architect in South America. And they moved to America, and he's selling cars, and he's an underperforming salesperson, and the dealership lets him stay on and hasn't provided any training or any path for improvement. And the first question I asked him is, what do you really want to do? What do you want to do after the car business? Because it was clear he was planning there to be an after the car business. What do you really want to do? He said, I want to be an architect. You know, I want to be in commercial design, industrial design, you know? I said, okay, well, that's great. You know, so how do you get there? How much money do you need in order to feel okay separating from this job that you have and pursuing that and becoming okay? And we came up with a number, and then we did all the backwards math of how he was going to get there. How many people he needed to talk to, how many demos he needed to do, how many customers he needed to write up, how many cars he needed to sell, and how long it was going to take. Right? And he's going to wake up and he's going to recite that to himself every morning about, this is where I will be. This is what I will have at this point, at this definite point in the future. And his subconscious brain will drive him to make that happen.
Right.
So I think the conversation that we don't have with people, with salespeople that we're trying to encourage and mentor, is, what do you really want to do? We just kind of think, well, I would never encourage anybody to leave our business. You know, I would never get them thinking about, you know, what they're, you know, I don't want them to focus on what they're unhappy about in this business. You know, I don't want to lose people. It's like, okay, so what we got to do is, if somebody is planning the car business to be a temporary stop, that's okay. Let's get them to take the architect into work every morning.
Right.
Okay? Let's tap into that energy. Who is that person at their best? Get them to come to work and do what it takes to get to where they want to be. And maybe along the line, they decide, because they have some success, they start selling 20, 30 cars, start making a bunch of money, and it's satisfying, and they have a better work-life balance. Maybe they decide they want to stay. That's fine. You know, that's my goal. Obviously, we want to retain people, you know, but the first thing is to get there, because nobody stays in the car business when they're failing. Let's get them successful, and if it takes the focus on the future to make that happen, that is absolutely what we have to do. So my you know, soliloquy, you know, to all of your viewers would be, you know, set a clear and definite goal for yourself. Be honest with yourself about where you are, and sit down with someone who can help you articulate that, and can help you set a goal of how to get there. And if it's something in the car business, that's great. We got to have goals. But if your goal beyond that is something else, talk about it. Make it real. You know, and make it known, something that, because once the people around you start to know that about you, they will help carry you forward.
Right. Yeah.
Make sense?
I love that. I love it, because you know what, when I think putting it out there, like, hey, I'm looking to be a publicly traded company one day, just to let you know, that's my big goal. And I don't know
what are you going to do that by? When will you be a publicly traded company?
5 years.
You have a date in your mind?
Oh yeah. So, I'm like, I guru this stuff, and I'm just waiting to like magnetize things into my existence, you know, and I write a lot. I do, like, when I learn a lot from doing these shows, I try to implement them into my action. I've just taken a lot of what people have said, and I've kind of like started really kind of crafting my little morning routine, my, you know, I always say, like, I'm an enormous money magnet and cash cow. That's one of my affirmations. I am a cash cow. My mom would be like, you're not a cow. No, Mom, I'm a cash cow. No, but yeah, no, those are, so I'm kind of like waiting for the right hire to come in. I'm waiting for that person to kind of help start bringing my company there, you know? And so that's one of the things.
It starts with an idea, right? It starts with an idea, and the idea becomes a burning obsession.
Oh yeah.
And the burning obsession gets deep into the brain, and we just start doing the stuff. We just start doing it. And there's so many people that wake up and, it's like, well, we'll see how it goes today. We'll see are the customers going to be in the mood to buy? Is my manager going to be in the mood to help me? Are my coworkers going to be in the mood to make it a great day? You make it a great day, right? Get up with an idea, with a burning desire, with an obsession, and go make it happen. Be a light to other people. Encourage, inspire. There's so much I could say on this topic, but it starts with knowing what you want and then making definite plans to get there.
Well, and I think that is, and a lot of times people do not know exactly what they want. I'd like to help the world get their cars delivered, and I want to make sure that you're helping salespeople deliver more cars, and making this industry of ours stronger and better than ever. So, Benjamin, thank you so much for your time. Listen,
thank you.
I'm going to get in touch with Benjamin. He's the man. Dealershiplife.org.
Yep. So my video training course is in development right now. Everybody who registers on the site, it's free to register. Just, put in your personal email address, not your work email address. And anybody who registers on the site will have lifetime free access to the products that are going to be there in the future. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah. And I think too, congratulations on that too. I think it's a huge step. It's a huge step. And there's nothing like taking the time to, there's a lot of time I spend on self-development, right? I think, and when you put the energy into yourself to become a better person, what's up, Timothy? When you put the energy to become a little bit better every single day, the sky's the limit on opportunity and accomplishing your goals. So listen, drive safe out there. Benjamin,
Thanks.
Good to see you. Hit me up. We're going to do this again. I can't wait until, we get this rolling again, and you're the man. And thanks so much for driving along with me, and drive safe out there, keeping it real. Hustle.
Thanks for having me, Rachel. It was great to be with you.
Yeah. Peace be with you, my friend. Namaste. Love you. Talk to you.
Bye.
All right, guys. Well, listen, we had a great show today, and I appreciate you guys being patient with everything. And if you need anything, let me know. But this was another episode of Car Business Live. Like, subscribe, all that stuff, and keep commenting and coming back for more. We always appreciate it. So thanks so much, guys.